So 75 this morning, coming in. Mm-hmm. I was listening to Black Keys, sunroof down the whole time, a little too fast here and there.
Out.
What were you, if you did listen to something, what did you listen to? And if you didn't, what would you listen to for a day like today?
I was actually listening to the Standard Age podcast on the way in, which
nice.
I guess I'm accidentally plugging, but
yeah, Wesley's awesome.
Yeah, dude, he's the man. And I was finishing up the Matthew Bain episodes, one of the most recent episodes.
It was so good, but
super good.
The entire time I couldn't get over him going.
Yes, I heard
and like
that.
his mic was on there.
There were a couple of loud
messaged
laughs.
him.
Matthew had a couple of loud laughs too that were like blaringly louder than the rest of the episode. But it was funny because it would snap me back to reality a little bit.
Yeah,
but
no, it was a good episode. I've been listening to that a lot. And
Yeah.
then Pare Pare,
Yeah,
which
cool.
was interesting. So Trevor is also out of Los Angeles. It's the same group of guys, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And he had come down to Lufticult, and one of our other friends has mentioned that podcast to me before, but I've never actually listened to it. And I saw Trevor had the Pare Pare hat on, and I was like,
Yeah, that's not on my radar at all.
You're like, you should listen to it.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
But I was like, oh, are you the guy? And he was like, yeah, because he came up and wanted to take like photos of the Watchmen tour we're doing for like a fun kind of photo report. And I was like, man, can I take a selfie? My friend loves your podcast. And then
so funny.
Now it's like one of my favorite podcasts. But I like how on his, he'll do like a different song for every intro tailored to the person.
Gotcha.
So like, cool. Yeah, it's a cool thing.
You know you're cool when you're driving down the streets of Charlotte on the way into work at 75 degrees, listening to a watch podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean it's unparalleled, the level of.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, so do you think the Rolex Pepsi is going to get discontinued?
It's a 50-50 shot, you know?
Yeah.
What
I
do you
feel like
think?
they've
What do you
said it's going to be discontinued for so long.
I mean, no one has said that, they being the nether, the watch forums, everyone. I mean, Rolex hasn't said anything, you know, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I could see they had a big GMT year last year and the year before, different iterations coming out, and there's a lot of talk about black and red coming out, Coke,
which would be
if you
cool.
will. I would love it if they turned everything on its head and they discontinued the black and blue and then kept the Pepsi just to mess with people. But I think they're looking more about what they can produce and why and what the color sustainability is. I mean, that's probably what they're doing. They're not sitting there trying to play the market or something.
Well, I don't know. So when I was lucky enough to get this back in 2022 from you, it was hard to get then, and I believe is this a Mark II or Mark III
right.
at that point? But I don't know in recent Rolex history any other watch that's had so many production problems on their end that's limited the supply even further than an already limited watch. Because like with the Bruce Wayne, like those seem easier to produce.
I think there's some talk, like I don't want to speak for Rolex because it's a slippery slope as a retailer for Rolex, but I mean, I think there maybe were some bezel production issues. I think some of that gets amplified by forum speak a little bit.
Probably.
I do think it has been slower to deliver than a lot of the other GMTs over the last year or two. So that maybe tells us something. Is that just a rundown, or is that just something with the bezel production, the color production? It could be a combination. I don't know. So remains to be seen. We'll leave it there, I think, because who knows?
It would be, I feel like the last several years for Rolex and Tudor have been such massive release years. But then you also have, 100 years of Tudor
It's a big
this
Tudor
year.
this year.
So I think you're going to see some really interesting stuff there. And then
I think it both watches and wonders, and then probably later in the year too at multiple.
Yeah.
I bet they'll keep it going throughout the year.
They're good about that. And then Rolex has, is it 75 years of day date,
That
I
sounds
believe?
right, yeah. 70 or 75. I should know that.
And then Oyster Perpetual as well.
Yeah. The funny thing about the watch industry, though, is I feel like you can grab a year out of the sky for almost every brand and be like, oh, it's the anniversary of the,
It's the 86th year or whatever,
we've had years where it's 50th anniversary of something or 60th, and then nothing really splashes for that line item. So I expect them to do something, but at the same time, they don't always call it an anniversary. Sometimes they just make a specific dial, and we just insinuate that it's, or they insinuate it's a.
Definitely.
So we'll see.
Well,
I think Tudor will have some very 100-year forward product.
Oh yeah, I hope it's, and I feel like they do it in a fairly restrained way a lot of the time. We'll definitely do a predictions episode, a fun one that I saw, and then we'll get into the main topic of today, which is Hamilton. How cool would it be if there was a platinum OP? Because there's so much hype around the OP right now. Yeah. If there was a platinum OP, polished Centerlink bracelet, ice blue dial, it'd be like what? It would be 40, 50 grand or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it happening, but
that'd be real cool.
Know. That would be cool. It would be cool.
And that's one for like the real nerds. Like that's not, nobody's trying to buy that necessarily to flex. That's such a deep cut if they were to do that, that I think it would be cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, welcome back.
We're starting, sorry, I'm interrupting you. Yeah. We're drifting into predictions already that's going to be a fun episode because
I think it is fun.
It can go all over the place. We need to put some rails on that episode because it's going to, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
Welcome back to Windsor time, as we've already kind of dove in. Today we are talking about one of my favorite entry to Swiss watch brands, if you will. I don't think entry level, because they're not entry level. I would say these are bordering on luxury goods, because anything over a couple $100, in my opinion, that's a watch is luxurious, because we don't need it.
This is like a luxury tool today.
It's
like leans luxury, but it still has that tool watch heritage.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have two phenomenal pieces here on the desk. We will get into what you are wearing, what kind of led in the preamble, and we'll touch on what I'm wearing briefly. Is my Rolex Pepsi, as I mentioned, I got back in 2022. This was a fun surprise. This was a fun one, and it's been the watch that, I know I had my first date with my now wife. I proposed in this watch, and then I got married for the first time in this watch because we had to do a legal, wedding at the Gaston County Courthouse in North Carolina. Then we had, our wedding in Italy over the summer. But so technically, this has been like one of those incredible milestone watches. So, does it get discontinued or not? I don't know. I don't care because I'm never going to sell mine. So it could be, this is one that's been phenomenal. So let's get into these first, and then we will finish on what you are wearing.
Sure.
Because it has a quite fun story. So I'm going to get my phone out really quickly because we
I have some notes. A couple of notes. Sticky note. I literally I'm gonna stick it to the back of our desk.
We're doing research now, which is good. Yeah. So Hamilton Watches was founded in 1892 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And the company was established following the purchase and reorganization of the bankrupt Keystone Standard Watch Company, which I was not familiar with before we did this.
Either. Yeah, I knew about Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I knew that we originated with Hamilton in the U.S., which is so cool.
It is.
A lot of British brands ended up in Switzerland. A lot of U.S. brands ended up in Switzerland. Hamilton is one of those.
Yeah.
Did not realize that. So it was from a takeover of a prior brand?
Yeah, it was from a former brand. But what is so cool about this, and I don't think a lot of people realize, like you were saying, Pennsylvania was huge in watchmaking back in the day. I believe you have a handful of people. Bulova, obviously, to this day, still has, I think, a quite large service center in Queens, New York. But at one point, Pennsylvania was a hub for watchmaking in the earlier days. And then, as we'll get into, moved away from there ultimately. But these are just some really phenomenal pieces. So pulling the notes back up again, we are going to be looking at a watch that I actually owned at one point early on in my watch collecting, time, and that is the Khaki Field Mechanical. This is the 38 millimeter size. Which I would say, because it has quite long lugs, wears closer to like a 39 or even a 40. This is the black dial variant. There's now also a white dial, which I think is quite cool, but the black dial is what would have been basically now a reimagined version of the 1960s one that was a military spec back in the day. Highly legible, highly utilitarian, and I think a design that still just holds up so well to this day.
Yeah,
I would say
very much a tool watch, to harp on that again. And it feels like when you put this on the wrist, from across the room, you don't know if that is a watch from the 1930s and 40s, or is that a watch from a month ago.
Absolutely.
It is pure heritage. It's not trying to do too much. Doesn't even have a date. Just a nice field watch. That does a little bit of everything.
Definitely. And this is one, the Khaki line has been so expanded to this point. There's, automatic variants. This is the hand-wound one, which I like quite a bit and I think has the most charm to it overall.
Totally.
But yeah, just a phenomenal watch. I love that it has drilled lugs, so you can easily pop your spring bar in there. If you want to put on a new strap or rubber strap, whatever you want to do. Obviously, with that big a NATO, you can pull it out. But just a really, really fun watch and a huge part of American watchmaking early on.
Yeah. I think Hamilton also, too, has been a leader in pricing and valuing their watches at an approachable place. But also, this has like a faux patina that they were way ahead of a lot of other brands that are now, the last 5 years, you see a lot of faux patina, maybe the last 10 years. Hamilton's been doing it for a long time on certain watches and really leaning into that sort of Dirty Dozen-esque, this has been through some stuff watch, motif, if you will.
Absolutely.
And, whether this watch is brand new or not, it looks like it's got some history, which is gives it that, particular vibe.
It does, absolutely. That warmth and that real character. But yeah, Khaki mechanical, really hard to go wrong with this, or Seiko, especially when you're starting out. And it's something that just holds up over time. And I feel like we touch on this quite a bit, but if I saw someone in the airport wearing that, or maybe at the grocery store, and I'm feeling particularly talkative that day, I'll say, hey, nice watch. Because I think it just does have that level of respect.
Well, I would say it's like, as much as a lot of guys strive to have a huge watch collection, it's a great one watch, everyday watch, just do anything watch. If it's a guy who's not super into the luxe side of watches, or he's not going to seek a minute repeater, that type of thing, a Hamilton is like the great entry point, but it's also just a do everything tool watch that
It was crazy early on when I was considering a minute repeater or this. It was like,
you're right. Yes, of course.
But no, it's fine. Moving on, we are going into cinema a little bit. So Interstellar, I would say, probably one of the best movies of the last decade or so. When did it come out? I can't remember when it came out. We'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah.
But
probably longer ago than we both.
I was going to say
realized.
Last decade, but then I was starting to go, it could have been
the world's moving quickly,
Yeah. But a phenomenal watch as well. That is one that I've recommended to many friends over the years. I've gifted, not that, but a couple different Hamiltons because I think they're just such phenomenal watches. But there's such a romanticism that I think a lot of people think you only get from brands like Omega with James Bond or Rolex with their different cinematic endeavors. But
Hamilton is super
Hamilton
entrenched.
is in there.
They are
in
super entrenched in cinema. And I would say every year they've got 1 to 3 watches that are maybe not a limited edition, but they are one way or another featured in a movie. Maybe more than that I don't even know about, but things that either come up, kind of organically or are a little bit promotional. But this watch, the Murph, this specific edition, it truly is essentially the crux of the film. It is the crux from the start to the finish of the movie. It all wraps around full circle based on the watch, which is super cool. If you haven't seen Interstellar, great watch moment and just great movie in general. This version in 42 millimeter too, the seconds hand actually has kind of the, I don't know if you know that, but it has the little striations that symbolize the kind of tapping, like cool. SOS, or I'm trying to think of the exact, he's trying to communicate across the Tesseract. And
such a cool watch.
It's pretty cool. Whereas this also comes in a 38 for the record, we should say. So same size as this, but I don't think it's as tied to the film, so it doesn't have that same detail. But this is the original Murph edition. It is automatic versus the mechanical 38 here. And just a great watch.
Yeah, I think that's one that really ties in, the romanticism that enthusiasts get with watches, where it's a phenomenal watch base level, but then I think the symbolism and that emotion that you're able to see in the film, you can relate back to your own life in one way or another. and having this. And I mean, this is a watch, it'll last the rest of our lifetimes easily, if not more.
And once again, though, this watch, if you pulled away from Interstellar and had no relationship with that movie with this watch, and you looked at this watch, this could be a Hamilton from today, or this could be a Hamilton from the 40s.
Absolutely.
And it really lives and breathes this kind of just retro. I mean, look at the hands. They're just awesome.
Beautiful hands.
It does not feel, I mean, it feels timeless, but at the same time modern. It feels like it could be a vintage piece, or it could have just come off a modern production line. I know that's cliche to say all of that, but I mean, it really, at the price point, it's pretty phenomenal, because you expect that in a higher price point brand.
Definitely.
Frankly.
That is another Khaki watch.
Yeah.
So that is the second Khaki. On to the third one. What do we have on the wrist today?
I'm wearing my one and only Hamilton, actually. Would love to have more. This is the Hamilton, also Khaki mechanical field Zermatt edition.
Very
I was
cool.
recently, as not to sound pretentious, but I was skiing in Europe with a group of guys who are very into skiing.
Yeah.
And I was over there just a few days. They were there for a pretty extensive trip. And one of the things we were all talking about was visiting the Hamilton boutique and finding this Zermatt special edition. So Hamilton has 4 special edition Khaki mechanical field watches. Here are my notes: Zermatt, Hong Kong, Tokyo, and then original to Lancaster, Pennsylvania as well. So I guess if you visit either the boutique there or stores local to Lancaster, they have a Lancaster edition as a throwback piece. So I actually had to leave the trip early, and the guys, you know, they all made a big to-do about how they went to this boutique. They all got the watch. I was like, no, missed out FOMO. And then lo and behold, a week or two later, they got back and they had surprised me with one, which was a super, thank you guys, super sweet moment. I will get them back, of course. But it's a super cool watch. It's got this kind of glacier blue snowy surface.
It's awesome.
And it does look and feel like I was in Zermatt.
Yeah.
And Zermatt, wherever you go, I mean, if you're skiing there or if you're just looking at the mountainside, if it is not completely covered in powder, you see a lot of actual glacier, like glacier field, in that light blue, almost turquoise look. So it literally does, you know, fit the bill.
Yeah, that's awesome. A phenomenal looking watch. And I think, again, a testament to really the blank canvas that this case can be overall. For sure. You know, throw a new dial in there. Some kind of different hands, and it's a cool one.
Yeah.
Well, those are just 3 examples of some of the phenomenal watches in Hamilton's current catalog and iconic models overall. Thanks for sharing the Zermatt. It's actually pretty cool. I hadn't seen one that.
Oh, you were very welcome.
That guy in
super
person.
Cool. Admittedly, I didn't really know about this 4 limited edition Hamilton set until I was on the way over there and someone told me about it. And I think it's really cool, and it does give you that, you know, want to kind of visit these 4 locations and collect the set, and you can only get them at each location, which is really cool. You can't order them online. Cool. You have to walk in, which that's something special. Like a watch brand today, they don't need to do that. They could sell every watch they make if they allow you to buy them, but to actually keep something where you have to visit a site, I think is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It makes it fun. Awesome. Well, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.